Hello, world's strongest man with scenes in the Philippines. If you're a fan of looking at exotic shores, then you're going to love today's show because it features the biggest one of all, Brian Shaw, four-time world's strongest man, whose reign was interrupted just last year by that pesky Eddie Hall. Well, he's back, and good luck to the men of Heat 2 as they try and stop him.
People might think that the strength world is all about power and brute force. Far from it. Sometimes the biggest strength is intellect, the biggest muscle, a brain. There is a science to this most extreme of sports, and Brian Shaw has had the winning formula at World's Strongest Man on 4 occasions. Shaw knows how best to psychologically prepare, when to hold his ferocity back, and when to unleash the raw force of his power. The American now embarks on the quest to qualify for his 10th consecutive Grand Final, and he leads the charge in Heat 2 that includes the giant Swede Johnny Hansen, one of Africa's strongest Johan Els, and Great Britain's Adam Bishop, back from injury and looking stronger than ever.
Well, Eddie Hall joins us again. Eddie, if you were going to try and build the perfect strongman, it might look pretty much like Brian Shaw.
I disagree. I think it should look more like the Beast.
Fair enough. You did beat him last year, of course. Are there any weaknesses in his game that you can point us towards?
Yeah, last year I think he tore his glute and hamstring on the deadlift, and I don't think he's quite ever got over that. So the deadlift could be a big chink in his armour this year.
Oh, could be good news for Adam Bishop, who's returning to World's Strongest Man this year. What are his chances of making it out of the group?
Adam Bishop's come in, he's looking bigger despite injury, stronger, more athletic, so he's got a very good shot.
Well, Adam Bishop with a big day ahead of him then. He's with Michelle ahead of Event 1.
Adam, great to see you back at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, last year, sadly, you were off due to your arm injury. So how are you feeling coming back in the game?
Yeah, last year was really tough for me. I managed to rupture my bicep tendon in my right arm about 6 weeks before Worlds. So I had my invite, I was ready to go, and then at Europe's Strongest Man, did myself an injury. It's a common injury in strongman, and you kind of just have to get on with it.
Now, I've noticed, Adam, you've got a bit of a strap here.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? You feeling good?
Yeah, so, you know, my luck, a year to the day that I ruptured this bicep, I managed to get a grade 2 tear in my left bicep, but luckily I've kind of rehabbed it, and it's just precautionary to keep it solid in the event.
Hey, well, fingers crossed. Best of luck today.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Well, ahead of the first event, terrible news for Vytautas Lalas, the Lithuanian runner-up at the 2012 World's Strongest Man, withdrawing here with injury. That means a last-minute change with a second British athlete, Paul Smith, now finding himself thrown into the heat in Lalas's place. Let's join Colin Bryce and Danny Wallace.
Well, that's exciting. Another Brit taking on the load and carry. 2 sacks, 150 kg each, and then a couple of logs. The farmer's walk. Both of those out once. Dirks then from America. He is actually married to the 2017 World's Strongest Woman. There she is, Kim Dirks.
Lane number 2.
Up against the South African barman, tavern owner, Johan Els. And the new guy, well, looking a bit cagey, Paul Smith. He's only really had about 20 minutes to warm up. And we'll see how he does. That guy's not sure.
These massive sacks weighing 330 pounds, 150 kilos each, and the height of Els, nearly 6'6", the former second row rugby player.
Oh, look at that. I think he's knocked himself out. Dirks is down, he's back up. It's an unusual technique, Colin, some kind of power nap there.
Wow, I mean, I don't know if he was looking where he was going. He's carrying it in a strange way, up and down. You really want to carry it sideways like Paul's trying to do at the moment. Here goes Els with the Farmers.
Well, it's all about the grip here and the balance. He's going to take this race, which will mean the world to him. Nearly didn't come here this year due to the riots in South Africa. His family encouraged him, and Paul Smith about to be overtaken by Dirks.
Dirks can get it on and get his hands off. He'll get a time for the second sack, and that will put him ahead of Smith.
Worth just pointing out again, about half an hour ago, Smith had no idea he'd be doing this.
Yeah, he was jeans on, relaxing Came as a reserve, but he didn't think he was going to be in. Now, can Dirks get any kind of a distance? They'll measure whatever he does here. 75 seconds, but no, he's out.
Looks like it's it. Well, great victory there for Els, 33.96 seconds. He's leading the load and carry. Worth just looking again at that moment with Dirks. Well, what happened? Did it rebound on him? Great advice from the crowd, get up. Some real experts there. Adam Bishop then, strength and conditioning coach at Harlequins. Looking much bigger this year.
Lane number 2 from Sweden, Johnny
Handsome Hansen, they call him, the Swede. Back to give it another go, and up against, well, needs no real introduction, but I'm contractually obliged to do it. Brian Shaw.
Big Brian Shaw.
Okay, very much expected to make it through to the grand final, but been surprised before.
Yeah, 6'8", 205 kilograms or thereabouts. He never lets himself get weighed. 33.96 to beat. Not exactly sprinting back, Shaw, but he finds these pickups so much easier than the other guys.
He's being very measured right now, but well ahead of the others. Onto the farmer's walk then. Bit of chalk. Again, the bigger the man, the sweatier the hands can get.
Yeah, the thicker the palm, the more body weight you put on, so this will be a good test of grip strength here for Shaw. He's being very precise about things.
Well, 41 or so. Puts him in second.
Oh, Bishop is flying with ease. Oh, he goes down!
Come on, Adam Bishop. And he does it, crosses the line. Took it out of him, though, and his arm.
Yeah, that's the worry when you go a little bit too fast. Undulating ground, it just bobbles about. And, there's our winner.
Yes, indeed. Well, Brian Shaw will take 5 points for that. But Johan Els will take 6. And Michelle is with Johan now.
Johan, you absolutely sped through that. I mean, you've beaten the 4-time champ in the first round. You must be feeling pretty good.
It's not actually synced in yet, I think. Just hope I did my country proud.
And you've got your family all rooting for you at home, haven't you?
Oh, definitely. I just want to tell everyone back there I love them very much. And thanks for all the support you guys have done for me so far. It's obviously hard work for me, but without their support, I wouldn't have been here.
It means so much, doesn't it? Well done.
Thank you, Miss. Appreciate it.
Johan Els tearing up and tearing up event 1, knocking 4-time world champion Brian Shaw back into second place with a decent third spot for Adam Bishop. What else has Johan got in his locker? Well, next up, the quest for a place in the grand final continues among the lush surroundings of the Philippines with one of Adam Bishop's favourite events. It's the kettlebell toss, coming up on the Tachi Palace World's Strongest Man.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Tachi Palace World's Strongest Man. Well, time now for the biggest tossers of Heat 2 to step forward as we bring you the kettlebell toss. Eddie Hall, we've got 8 of these kettlebells to be flung over that 15.5-foot barrier. They're not the heaviest items in strongman, so where's the difficulty?
I'd just say these aren't the heaviest objects, but it's all about the projection, getting the angles right. If you get that wrong, then you're going to hit the barriers, fall short.
OK, about 30 kilos, just under the heaviest of them. Who are the best at the kettlebell toss?
Someone like Adam Bishop, very athletic, very explosive. He should do well. But then you've got the likes of Brian Shaw, the best part, 7 foot tall, long levers, very powerful. You know, that guy's pretty much unbeatable at this sort of thing.
Wow. Sounds like the kettlebell could be Brian's cup of tea with some stirring action brewing. It's back to our commentators.
Well, thank you very much. And the kettlebell toss. I love this event. 60 seconds to throw a range of kettlebells. Well, just about 5 metres in the air. Hansen's had a go, managed 6 of them in 55.68 seconds. Dirks managed 5. Paul Smith didn't manage any. So, how will Adam Bishop fare? At least compared to years past.
Back in 2015, it was my first World's Strongest Man. I was just in awe. These guys I'd seen on TV and maybe competed on the local level and kind of the stuff in Europe. Suddenly I'm here at World's Strongest Man competing them in a completely new and different country. It was incredible. You know, I came in really light and really green to that contest, and it was tough for me, but it really kind of fueled my fire to go away and keep working hard and come back stronger. 2016 in Botswana, I'd gone away, I'd made my improvements in my training, and I came back real determined and had a really good contest. Unfortunately, I just missed out on making the final by about a half a point or 1.5 points. But once again, you know, this is strongman. You get some disappointing times. It's how you react to them. So once again, go back and work harder. 2017 was a real bad year for me. 6 weeks before Worlds, I managed to rupture my bicep tendon being Europe's Strongest Man on the axle. Luckily, I had a real good surgeon and the recovery was pretty quick. After that, it was just a lot of time in the gym rehabbing, and I'm back here.
Well, it's great to see him back. And this is quite a technical event. He did so well in Botswana in 2016 at this event.
Yeah, that was throwing single kegs, though, so that you've got the fatigue factor kicking in here. He's been quite precise. We've already seen the likes of Paul Smith go, and he failed totally. And it's getting that trajectory right, as the Beast was saying earlier. And it starts to get sweaty, and it gets heavier and heavier. Suddenly you have to get that little bit closer, or it'll go smashing against the wall.
And he's moving on to 53 pounds now. You've got to get the technique right.
And your explosive strength, it just evaporates. It's amazing how quickly it goes. Hopefully he can get this one over.
And he does. Well, this is great work from Adam Bishop.
This will be really hard.
Didn't quite. And that's it for time as well. 7 for Adam Bishop. And that puts him in the lead.
Tremendous performance there for Bishop. Everything was thought out, precise, and didn't make a single mistake. The last one was just too much for him. That second last one, lovely.
Representing the United
Well,
States,
Brian Shaw then, and we're expecting big things from him. One of the best in the world at this event.
He's quite conservative. He doesn't go, well, doesn't go mad.
Oh, yeah.
He only cleared about 10 feet. But these first few are so easy. As the weight goes up, he's just got to stay loose. He's the only man in the world to have ever done all of them.
Well, he just has to do 7 to place himself in front of Bishop. He does it quicker, and he looks set to do that. Look at this. 30 seconds to beat Bishop's 7.
Goodness me.
And he has. Well, if he wants to secure this and give Else a real challenge.
Now, this is a big step up here. 7 pounds, just over 3 kilos extra, but it's the size as well. Taking a chance just to get his breath.
Let's see. Yes, he's done it. All 8 in 53.22 seconds. The new leader, Brian Shaw.
Brian Shaw, the United States.
That's got to feel slightly intimidating for this man. Johan Else, who's next?
I'm not sure Else gets intimidated by anything. Mad Dog Else, as they call him. But even he'll be impressed with that. And it took a bump on the way up. A lot of momentum, that.
Our final competitor in Group 2.
Well, here we go then.
South Africa, Johan Else.
Very, very important to him to get to the grand final of his first one. And explodes.
He's got to be careful. He kind of jumped forward there. I can see this going up and down and actually having the height but not crossing. Well, maybe not. Mad Dog, he's very explosive, that's for sure.
It's a great technique he's showing there. And the power in the legs.
It's wild, isn't it? Goodness.
Yes. So 53.22 to beat.
Come on, Johan. He's never done this event before. Oh, he's starting to bend his legs. He's got to extend, use his height.
It's behind where Shaw was at this stage. If he wants to beat Bishop now, well, Bishop's on 49.72 for 7, so he's not going to do that.
Costly mistake.
It is a costly mistake. We'll place him 3rd, though.
He's not going for the last one. He knows when he's beat there. And mixed
Ladies
feelings.
and gentlemen, give it up for Johan Els of South Africa.
Well, a great showing for Johan Els. But this is the moment. He just forgot to let go, which is crucial.
Johan and Adam knocking 7 bells out of event 2, but both bested by big Brian Shaw. A little reminder of why he's the king of throwing events. That moves Shaw up to first place overall. And remember, the man who's top after 5 events qualifies automatically, with the next 2 men going into a playoff. And right now it's Els and Bishop who occupy those playoff spots. Over to Michelle.
Well, let's see how Adam gets on in our next event, the deadlift. And who better to give us an insight into this event than Eddie? Now, Eddie, this isn't a normal deadlift as we've seen in previous years, is it? Would you say that this is actually more difficult than the traditional deadlift?
Yeah, I would. It's, I'd say a normal deadlift, you're pulling it in a straight line in context to your body, whereas this, you've got to pull to what the machine wants you to pull. Yeah. So it's pulling you forward, and also all the added bangs, the weights. It's a lot harder, probably twice as hard.
Twice as hard. Any strong contenders?
Yeah, we've got Adam Bishop, who is a good deadlifter for sure, but for some reason in repetitions he seems to really pull it out of the bag. He does really well. And then of course Brian Shaw, he's deadlifted over 1,000 pounds, super powerful, so it's definitely got to be between those two, I think.
It's going to be a good battle, isn't it?
It is.
And the deadlift has been a staple diet event in World's Strongest Man since the very beginning back in 1977 in the form of max strength and also for repetitions. So before we get stuck into 2018's action, let's go back in time and take a look at some of the best deadlift moments.
Yeah!
He's going to go into the lead and he does it comfortably.
Couldn't quite do it. Look out, somebody better get up there. I think he's blacking out.
He's done it. We've witnessed history being made here.
I've never seen a strongman so defined in all my days.
Unusual deadlifts of the past, and this one is very unusual. 60 seconds, 7 repetitions, but these barrels will just keep on coming. So Paul Smith gave it a go. He's tied in second with 3 repetitions. Who's he tied with? Hansen also managed those 3 repetitions. And Dirks, well, this is very much why he's here. Deadlift is his thing. He only managed 5. You can see him leaning forward there.
Ladies and gentlemen,
But
our
real
fourth
commitment.
Representing
Talking of commitment, I mean, you can't fault Johan Els. Placing second so far, in a bit of trouble last year with the deadlift.
Just wouldn't give up, would he?
Yeah, to his cost.
He was okay in the end. But this apparatus will actually suit him more because he likes to lean back and really jerk it when it gets heavy. First one, easy enough. As you said, Danny, it gets heavier and heavier, each one of these kegs. Well, there's a fulcrum, so it adds about 25 kilos in real weight as it drops in.
So 5 to beat.
Oh, it goes up quickly, the weight. Here we go. That last one didn't look that easy.
Just readjusting.
This is where Mad Dog will not give up. He'll want that 5. Good effort as well. Time's ticking away, though. 15 seconds to go.
Well, like you said, this is a man who really doesn't give up. He's going to want one more crack.
He's adjusting the bar so it's further down his fingers. Makes him in a higher position, but no.
Ladies and gentlemen,
well, just couldn't quite manage it, but is now the co-leader with 5 reps.
You just saw how quickly they burn out. The jumps and weight are really quite serious. It'd be impressive if anyone gets close to all of them.
Representing Great Britain,
Well, Adam Bishop will want to.
Adam Bishop.
It's amazing. Just a few years ago, his personal best was 380 kg.
You'd have to go way past that to do all of them. Well, first one, like a metronome. He is, of course, a strength and conditioning coach, so his technique should be spot on. A little bit of a shake there. Starting to see the weight now. This is the real tester.
I've actually built one of these at home with beer.
Oh, into the lead.
Look at this from Bishop. Adam Bishop takes the lead.
All 7.
Wow. No, sadly not. But what a performance from Adam Bishop. Takes the lead, steals it from Else. And only sure to come now.
Yeah, you'd imagine it's a sure thing that he's going to do all 7, but...
Never say that again.
Bish, good effort. I think he'd be pretty happy with 6. That was a grinder. 7 never looked like it was really going to go up.
Group 2, representing the United
Big Brian.
States, the 4-time champion.
Again, should not be a problem for this man.
Yes, but, you know, exactly what Eddie Hall said at the beginning of the show. If he has one weakness now, it's just that he's had some muscle problems in his hamstrings. And this is where we'll find out just what kind of shape he's in. I mean, we're expecting him to go through to the final, right? We're expecting him to be in first place after 5 events, and that, of course, means he wouldn't have to do the Atlas Stones. He'll qualify directly, because it's a playoff then for 2nd and 3rd in the Stones. Now that's number 4.
Oh, look at this. 35 seconds to go. 6 to beat.
Plenty of incentive, though, because he really only wants to do 5 events, so he'll want to win this. There's number 6.
Now on to number 7.
That wasn't that convincing.
Still 15 seconds to go.
Sweat lashing off him. I mean, the humidity here is awful, especially when you're over 400 pounds.
Oh. Decided to stop. Well, he's tied for first place, along with a brilliant performance there from Adam Bishop. 6 reps for sure.
Well, there'll be discussion. Did he decide to stop, or was he forced to stop?
Absolutely. And you can discuss that at home in your own time.
Brian Shaw sharing that event with Adam Bishop. A huge result that for the British athlete, and with Johan Els further down, one that gives Adams qualifying chances a big lift too. For while up top Shaw continues to lead, Bishop moves into 2nd place now, a point ahead of his South African rival. Is Adam on course to make his first grand final? Michelle is with him now.
So Adam doing it for the Brits, came joint first with Brian Shaw there. Good position, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you manage to kind of match Brian on a deadlift event, you've kind of done pretty well. 4 times winner of World's Strongest Man and a fantastic deadlift, so I'm over the moon, really. I'm quite happy with where I am. Just got to try and keep Brian in sight and just keep snapping at his heels.
Well, you seem very focused.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Next up on the streets of Manila, our strongmen get to grips with some local transport, as over 6.5 tons of jeepney is given a ride it won't forget in a hurry. That's coming up on World's Strongest Man.
Welcome back. Eddie's taking a well-earned break halfway through Heat 2. Eddie, what do you make of Brian's progress so far?
Yeah, Brian's doing really well. He's winning every event pretty much. But trust me, he's a proper professional. He's doing the bare minimum to get through.
Adam Bishop, though, is only 2 points behind. Very impressive.
It is very impressive. You know, Bish has got a really good chance. He's got the arm over arm to go, the dumbbell. He's phenomenal at dumbbell. Just hope he can keep it up in the arm over arm.
Hopefully he's going to have a chance when we get to the Atlas Stones, because he's got an Alsatian snapping at his heels. Johan Els, 1 point behind. How dangerous is he?
Geez, I mean, he's improved so much from last year. He's proved us all wrong so far. Can he keep it up? We'll just have to find out.
Certainly will. Let's hope Adam's form doesn't take a dip. Back to the commentators.
It's so lovely how they hang out, isn't it?
It is.
So on to the next event. Arm over arm. 2nd heat here in Manila. Well, you've got 60 seconds to try and pull essentially 2 taxis, 25 metres. And yes, pull. Arm over arm. Adam Bishop, well, he had a go, managed 14.28 metres. After a great showing, that wasn't quite enough. Placed him 4th so far. Dirk's in the lead with 18.2 metres. And up next, it's Hansen. Now, this is a tough event, Colin.
Very suited to a tall man, though. I mean, it's a bit like Olympic rowing. You know, the taller you are, the longer the levers. It certainly helps, and old Hansen is pretty tall. Nearly 2 metres. There's a couple of handsome devils.
There they are.
Sorry about that, folks.
So this is operating all the muscle groups. The rhythm is extraordinarily important. If you slow down, and those tyres are not particularly well inflated, are they?
No, in fact, they took air out of them before the start of this event to make it even harder. The organisers were worried they'd pull it too easily. No one's finished so far, not even close. Will Big Handsome do it?
Well, he's doing pretty well.
Great rhythm, still got 25 seconds on the clock. This last little bit is uphill, though. This is where the lactic acid kicks in as well. His hands are slipping on the rope.
Oh, look at this, approaching the line. Look at that! Well, Hansen did it in 47.42 seconds, the first person to complete this course.
Well, you can do all the technique work in the world, but you can't coach height.
That's the old expression. Brian Shaw then, leading after 3 events, as you might expect.
2 metres and 3 centimetres tall, that certainly helps. Now, the one thing Brian has suffered is some injuries to his hamstrings, but also quite a while ago to his bicep, and he's struggled to have a good grip in his left arm ever since then. Now, let's see how dominant he is with his right. So far, so good. Actually, it's chipping along here pretty nicely.
All the people in these taxis were under the impression they were visiting a local ceramics museum. Instead, they're on their way to Brian Shaw. 30 seconds gone.
Oh, he's just starting to lose the momentum. If these stop, then he's really going to be in trouble. So I don't think he's going to pressure the 47 seconds by Hansen. And look at this. No, his grip has gone. It's blown up.
Well, that's that. Again, a professional, as Eddie said, does the bare minimum. Knows when to stop. Second place in the arm over arm with 19.82 metres. You can see him slowing now.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not just trying to style this out and say, hey, I've had enough, but he did just enough. That was very clever from Shaw.
Gentlemen, the winner of Group 2 in the arm for arm.
Well, he takes it.
Representing Sweden, Johnny Hansen.
Well, that's one for Sweden.
Oh. A Hansen effort indeed from the Swede, while disaster for Bishop from joint first in the previous event to last place in the arm over arm. How much did that arm the Britain's chances? Well, he slips to 3rd now overall behind Johan Els, with Hansen only 2 points behind Adam in the race for a playoff spot. Well clear on top, of course, Brian Shaw, the Colossus from Colorado, Gigantor.
The 4-time champion, Brian Shaw.
This is my 11th time now at World's Strongest Man, and if I'm able to make the final, it'll be my 10th final in a row, which will be a record. You know, I want to add to my legacy in the sport. My drive and my passion for winning my 5th title is very much still there, and I'm very motivated to get that done. I think after so many years of competing, now I know that I can do it. I'm not questioning myself mentally. I know when the whistle blows that I can move whatever I need to move, and I can make it look easy. I'm coming here to get a job done. This is work, and I'm very serious about what I'm doing here and what I came to get done. I don't plan on leaving here without winning.
While next up in Manila, the qualifying race takes a decisive turn with event 5. Here's Colin and Danny.
Thanks, James. So 4 dumbbells that get heavier and 60 seconds to lift them. Those are the rules. So who's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, on the left.
Well, Dirks
representing
from
the
America.
United States, Adam Dirks.
In 5th place. And there aren't many points between 2nd and 5th.
Representing Great Britain,
Paul Smith in 6th place. Remember, he had no idea this morning he'd be doing this. So he'd be having lunch and watching Loose Women.
Well, here in the Philippines. He was a reserve, you know. Now then, Dirks, very snappy, and so too the former Olympic weightlifter Smith. A bit more in his comfort zone. That's nice. It's 100 kilos, almost Dirks' body weight.
He must lock out. The heaviest of these, 120 kg. The equivalent of inexplicably grabbing an orangutan and holding it above your shoulder. Smith would struggle with right now, but Dirks is building up to. Grab the orangutan. And lift it. Well, he couldn't quite manage 120. He managed 110 kg. What more has Smith got?
They're still on the second one. He's done a number of reps that can't quite get it. He's out of time, 60 seconds. Shame.
Well, Dirks now leads the overhead press. Incidentally, that orangutan thing is why I was banned from Colchester Zoo.
Paul Smith.
Heard about that.
And Paul Smith currently 2nd in the overhead press.
Dirks, though, doing body weight. 110 kilos, maybe slightly over, 240 pounds. Most impressive.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Adam Bishop then.
Great Britain on the left.
He's been doing so well. 3rd place after 4 events. He's been in great form recently.
Representing Sweden.
And he'll be going head to head with our arm over arm champ, Hansen. Not many points between these guys.
Bishop's very good at dumbbell. So too Hansen. This is probably his favourite overhead event. And of course, at the end of this event, whoever's in 2nd and 3rd will go through to the stone off. The head-to-head in the Atlas Stones. And whoever's leading at the end of this event gets a free bye straight to the grand final.
Look at the concentration on Bishop. 100 kgs in the air. Onto 110.
You've got to get it set. Ideally, it sits just behind your neck so you can drive with your legs. Now, you can see Hansen, looks like his flexibility is struggling.
Hasn't quite got it. Looks to be giving up as well. Not so Bishop.
Really good technique, wasn't it?
Now, what's he got?
I think what Hansen's gained in terms of mass has almost made him a little muscle-bound. Can he twist it around so it sits on the back of his neck? That's where you want it.
Just a few seconds if you can lock out, Adam. Go on. No. Close. Very close.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Johnny
Hansen
Hansen.
in 4th. But this does mean
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
that Bishop has made it to the playoffs.
He has done, yes, he's done enough. We will see him in the head-to-head stones for a shot and the grand final. Good effort, Bish.
Representing the United States.
So Brian Shaw then.
4-time world
No
strongest
stranger
man champion
to lifting things.
Brian Shaw.
The leader after 4
Representing
events.
South Africa. On the
Up
right,
against the South African, you should
Johan
never underestimate
Els.
Johan Els.
Mad dog Els. This isn't his favourite event, though. Again, not very flexible in the shoulders now. Brian Shaw, the consummate professional. Look at that. I imagine he'll just do 2, maybe 3 here, because that's all he needs, and he'll be into the grand final.
Well, there's 2. Are you right? Well, you seem to be right.
Look at Els. He came to the sport quite late, riddled with injuries from rugby, and his shoulders, ooh. Took a 100-kilo dumbbell to the face there.
Still 30 seconds to go. He's struggling with his technique there.
But he was very quick with that first dumbbell, you know. I'm not sure he needs this, actually.
No, look at that.
Yeah, I think he's going to go through, maybe not in 2nd anymore, but in 3rd place behind Bishop into that playoff.
He's trying a different arm. I thought he'd given up there, but some encouragement from Shaw.
Don't call him Mad Dog for nothing.
Hugely frustrated.
I really don't think he needs this. I think he's going to get good news in a minute. I think he'll be in the playoff in the Stones.
In what shape?
Once again, Brian Shaw.
Talk about cruising through to the final. Brian Shaw, what a professional.
Very much like you, Colin, just does the bare minimum. And Johan Els makes it through. And like I say, at what cost? These Atlas stones are not light, and this injury could cost him. We'll find out shortly if it does, but not before Michelle has talked to heat winner Brian Shaw.
Shaw, you're cruising through to the final. It's all gone to plan for you so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has really. You know, I felt really good, really comfortable, really relaxed this year through the qualifiers, and that's fun. I've got a lot of energy in the tank for the finals, so we'll see. You know, I'm gonna have to pour it out there because it's gonna go up a notch for sure. But I'm excited. I'm ready.
Brian Shaw making sure. Adam Dirks takes the win in Event 5. It's too little too late for the American, but second place is enough for Adam Bishop, who seals his playoff place with Johan Els losing form at just the wrong moment. So Shaw heading for that 10th appearance in the grand final. 4 have ended in victories, and the next 2 men face each other over the stones to decide the other qualifying spot. Just around the corner then, it is the big decider. Adam Bishop, Johan Els, face to face. Which man will get their first ever taste of the grand final? We'll find out next on the Tachi Palace World's Strongest Man. Welcome back to World's Strongest Man. Time now in the sweltering heat of Manila for the climax to Heat 2. An Atlas Stones head-to-head to decide who goes through alongside Brian Shaw to the grand final. It's Johan Els against Adam Bishop, who's warming up now with Michelle.
Adam, so close to the final. You're going to be against Johan Els and the Atlas Stones at Showdown. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. I was really happy, obviously, with kind of bouncing back from the arm over arm, which was a bad event for me. The biceps not great, but you know, this is World's Strongest Man, so I'm just going to kind of strap it up and really go hard at the stones. We've got different platforms this year. I'm not going to be rushing through it. If Els beats me by going absolutely mad, like I know he's going to, then fair play to him. But I'm just going to take my time on the stones and make sure I get them all.
Hey, you're a Brit. We're going to be rooting for you.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
And bringing us the action at the Bonifacio Global City are Colin and Danny.
Well, here they are, battling for a place in the grand final. Adam Bishop and Johan Els. 60 seconds to lift these stones, which just get heavier and heavier onto each plinth. This is going to be quite a battle, Colin. Determination, strength, obviously, speed, technique, and just who wants it more?
So I can't even answer that. I would have to say keeping himself cool, probably basic athleticism and speed and age is all on Adam's side, but Mad Dog, he's got height and just wild power at times on the right-hand side here. And those extra 5-6 centimeters, Bishop's right. He's going to go mad for it. But that last one is so heavy, and it is a bit damp here.
Well, look at this. I mean, Els pulling ahead. Bishop remaining in control.
Is he, though? He just glanced over and realized how far Els is ahead. He knows how heavy the last stone is. Very few men have ever put this up.
Els struggling slightly now. A chance for Bishop maybe to catch up. But no, this is it. Look, Els has done it. And this means the world to Johan Els. A shame for Bishop, but he's getting better and better every year. But what a result for the South African.
Well, he gambled on the fact that the South African, like most people, just won't put that last stone up. And he knew if he paced himself, he would. So he stuck to his tactics. It was the right thing to do, but this guy's just wildly powerful. He doesn't know how strong he is.
Well, he's through. Johan Els qualifies for the World's Strongest Man Grand Final. And this really will mean the world to him, Colin, won't it?
Oh, it'll mean a great deal to an entire continent. Almost 2 decades since we've had an African in the Grand Final. Gerrit Batenhorst back in 2000. Now Johan Els gets added to that list.
Well, Michelle is with Johan and Adam Bishop now.
Adam, what is going through your head right now?
I'm gutted. Second time I've just missed out on a final. Unfortunately, I was never going to be able to go that fast in stones because my bicep's torn. And this year, stones are more important than anything. So I'm gutted. Just leading into that event, yeah, I'm really disappointed. I wish Johan all the best in the final. Definitely, he's done fantastically well. So
you gave it your all. It was fantastic to watch you. Well done, Adam. And obviously, Johan, you have got your position in the final. Just how nervous were you before you went out there today? Because it obviously means so much to you, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, big time. It all boils down to, well, I got it. I mean, wow.
The Alsatian joins Brian Shaw in the grand final. Behind him, Dirk's 4th overall after his playoff win over Hansen. For Paul Smith, some invaluable experience, but for the other Briton, once again, disappointment.
Eddie, what a heartbreaker for Adam Bishop there.
Yeah, geez, he was in second place going into the stones and he gave everything he's got, but Al's just beat him to it.
Yeah. What do you think the prospects are for the two homegrown hopefuls coming up in Heat 3, Graham Hicks and Luke Stoltman?
Well, Hicks came second at British Strongest Man, so obviously he's good. Luke Stoltman, he works away on the rigs most of the year, but we don't really know. He's a bit of a dark horse, but he comes back bigger and stronger every time.
Who did Hicks come second to in the Britons?
The Beast.
Ha! Exactly. We've also got Z returning in Heat 3, so I'm really looking forward to that. For now, though, on a day that's seen triumph for Brian and left Bishop almost crying, it's time for us to be goodbye. Whoa!